Hey there, everyone. Happy Friday. Thank you for joining me tonight. We are still cutting the Jacquelynne Steves I Love Home block of the month quilt along. So we are switching from yardage to fat quarter cuts of fabric tonight. I'm making it a little scrappy, this quilt. I'm out of yardage, so that's why I'm using the fat quarter cuts instead. And we'll be playing with that. So a little bit of difference in cutting tonight. Hopefully it'll be okay. It won't be, like I said, the yardage. It'll be the fat quarters. So awesome. Thanks again for coming, guys. If you're new, my name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make lovely and quirky hand embroidery patterns and kits. I'm the author of Sew and Stitch Embroidery, and I'm here every night at 9:30 p.m. Central, where we relax and craft and work on a project together. And like I said, we are working on the Jacquelynne Steves I Love Home block of the month quilt along. It is free. There's a link in my post here to download it if you want to join me. So, oh yes, Belinda, it is also the last day to sign up to win the box of Aurifil thread. This is the last day on for my, it's a blogger tour, so I'm part of that, and so today is my closing day for the Aurifil thread. Be sure to check out the other bloggers if you still want to sign up on their blogs as well. So I love home quilt, hashtag I love home quilt, and like this page, the Penguin and Fish page, for your entry, and I will be picking that on Monday, and I'll let you guys know here who wins, and I'll also send the winner a Facebook message as well. So thanks again, guys. I'm gonna flip you around and we'll get started. Okay, I'm all ready to go. Thank you for joining me again tonight, everyone. So here we are, our pretty little quilt that we're working on. I'm gonna see how far I can get cutting tonight. So all I have left is the light blue and the yellow number 1 actually. So light blue and yellow number 1. So I've been switching up the colors, and just to keep track, I've been putting the original color name, so yellow number 1, with my new colors. So here is my yellow number 1 stack. It's actually a stack of green fat quarters. So this is what I'm going to cut all these yellow pieces out of. They're actually going to be green for my quilt. So yellow number 1, and then also light blue, which in my case happens to be kind of a dark gray blue, blacky sort of arena. And that will be all of these light blue little pieces around here. So I've run out of yardage. I just have smaller cuts of fabric, smaller fat quarter cuts of fabric, which is a fat quarter is a yard of fabric divided in quarters by cutting horizontally and vertically. So those for each are fat quarters. So I can't go the width of the fabric anymore. So we'll see how that goes tonight. So all right, I am going to start out. I'm going to just go in order here with my light blue fabrics. My light blue is actually these blacks. Okay, let's give them a press first. I actually picked a few fat quarters here. I might not actually need them all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick my favorite, and we'll start there. I do want a mix of these colors though, so I'll probably switch around, and I'll probably have a lot of scraps of all of them. But that's okay. This one I have 2 fat quarters of. I'm going to see if I can get away with just using the 1. So I'm going to start out by pressing all of these tonight. So up to the ironing board, up to the kitty cats. All right, so I am going to be using my flatter starch again. So this again I'm using because I don't have any liquid. I don't have any water in my iron. So this is kind of acting as my steam. Ooh, I have not seen this all separated or all unfolded, this fabric. I like this one. This one's gonna be super pretty. I'm glad I'm adding it to this quilt. Pretty. So it was really fun for me breaking into my my fabric stash to find fabric for this project. But like I was saying, I ran out of yardage, so I'm doing what I can with the fabric I already own for my stash. So that's kind of fun, I think. I like the idea of using up some fabric. It's always fun to buy more fabric, but it's nice to see my bin of fabric just get a little more empty. Converting it to a new quilt instead. I like that. All right, let's get one more little spritz in here. This is not a batik. It looks like it though a little bit, doesn't it? So a batik is when a cloth is, a design is made in wax and then it is completely dyed and then the wax is removed, and you can do that a few times. That's what a batik is. This is just printed cotton, so it's basically screen printed onto fabric in a couple layers of color. So you can tell because a batik, you would see the design all the way through, really bright and colorful, whereas a printed cotton, you can really tell the right side from the wrong side. This is, you know, more faded. All right, done with that guy. Let's do these other ones while I have them up. This is kind of a pretty stone. It's almost like a purple gray. Ooh, it's really soft too. It's kind of fun. They're all different manufacturers really that I'm using, and you can really tell some of the different qualities of the fabric. Like the one that I was just, that one with the purple flowers was kind of a little bit heavier. This one feels a little more dainty and like a little thinner maybe, a little more delicate. So we're gonna have a mix of cloth a little bit, but not so much that it's gonna make a difference. Just different manufacturers do it a little different. Much easier pressing a fat quarter than yards and yards of fabric all at once. So this will go quicker tonight. The pressing. Did you purchase any material for this quilt? I have not purchased any material specifically for this quilt. I did get some that fusible web, but I already kind of had that too. I just haven't tried it yet. So nope, all from my stash. So I did, Joe, just happen to organize my stash of fabric, so that was helpful. I have a feeling that if I didn't do that organization, I probably would have ended up purchasing some fabric. I actually probably would have used some of my own penguin and fish fabric because I know I have that in yardage and available. So I probably would have used my own fabric, which is maybe a good idea, but I like the idea of using up my pretty fabric that I've acquired or purchased at some point. This is really pretty too. It's kind of this kind of scratchy looking brown. Nice brown filler fabric. But nope, I'm using everything from my stash, my fabric stash, and that's why I don't have, you know, perfect sizes. These are fat quarters, even though the instructions kind of just have us cutting from right off the bolt, like yardage, where I can go the whole width of the fabric, the whole 42 to 44 inches width of the fabric. And in this case, I only have half of that width. So about 21 to 22 inches, really. So we'll see how that goes in adjusting the cutting instructions tonight. So, all right, down to the cutting board again. So I do want a mix of these fabrics. So I'm gonna have to play with that. We'll see how it goes. I think I might just keep moving around the different fabrics, but let's just start with cut 1 6 3/4 strip, and then we have to make those into some other things. So let's start with this pretty fabric that I really like. Oh, she who must not be named. The Amazon Echo was just talking to me. Oh man, that always freaks me out. I did not mean it to start talking to me. Have I ever used a sheet for a backing? I have. And I kind of love that idea just because it uses up stuff. I know people have different opinions about it. Sometimes it is just a hair different weight than quilting weight. So I think that's why people maybe don't always do that, but I have done that before. Use an old sheet for backing. Actually, the quilt that's currently on my bed is made up of sheets that I've quilted together. All right, so I just folded this in half again. Just, you know, even though it's a smaller piece, I folded it in half just to make it even easier for me to cut. Oh, did I do the long edge? I think so. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to trim this, and I will cut my 6 3/4 inch strip. Oop, lost a ruler. All right, first cut. Sometimes sheets are more comfy on the skin. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I bet. That's a good enough reason. And you know, sheets, like, I don't know if you've been to Target lately, but there are so many soft and pretty sheets that, you know, I personally have no problem with that idea, using a sheet. All right, so I think I'm going to have to we'll use this as our 6 3/4. Oh, you know what? I'm going to use a bigger ruler. Let's use this guy for 6 3/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 3/4. Okay. Actually, this ruler doesn't have that many markings on, so you know what? We're going to do this differently. I'm going to take this ruler, which has lots of markings on. Move some things around here. And it's still got some width to it, so I think it'll work well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could actually just rotate my mat too, and then not have to deal with the double ruler system. But I always kind of like doing that one cut and then leaving it there. All right, 6 3/4. Let's double check. Yep, 6 3/4. Great. All right. Pretty fabric. Okay, so instead of moving ahead and seeing how much more I can cut out of that fabric, I'm going to do my cross cutting right away because I do want to mix up the fabric. So this might be all I use of this fabric. Who knows? Let's just see what else we need from it. I'm going to flip it just so I can see the selvage a little bit better there. Okay, so I need 2 5.5 by 6 3/4. So I'm going to cut them both at the same time. First, I'll trim this away, the selvage. Ooh, flannel sheets that were hardly used. Oh, that would be a great idea, Joe. And flannel is just really nice and soft too. That'd be awesome for a quilt backing. So one thing that people say, I've not done this or dealt with it ever, just because I haven't made a ton of quilts. But if you're using different fabrics like that, people say it's good to wash the fabrics before putting them together, just because they might shrink at a different rate. But you know, at the same time, if it does shrink at a different weight, it makes it poofier, which I kind of like anyway. So 5.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. I keep all my scraps too, and I think I'll use my scraps in the quilt on the back if I don't use it anywhere else. I kind of love the idea of using up scraps, making weird like little improv blocks for the backs, because then I'm kind of using up all the fabric on the one project still. So I think I'll probably do that. Play with the back a little bit. All right, here, oh man, this is a pretty fabric. Here's the two pieces of the 5.5 by 6 3/4. All right, and then from the rest of the strip, I still need, oh, let's get our check marks off though. Don't want to get too far ahead without checking it off. All right, now we need 4.5 by 3 1/4 triangles. Okay, so this is where I am not going to have enough fabric with the one cut. I will have to cut another piece probably. So can I even get 4.5 out of here? That's a good question. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. Oh, I can get 4.5. So I can get a tiny bit out of this fabric, this cut of fabric yet. I can get 2 of the 4 squares, but after that I will have to cut more fabric, and I think I'll cut it from a different piece of fabric, a different color, just so I can start making this look scrappy with my little fat quarters that I got going on here. So all right, I'm aligning the edges here. What was it again? I needed 4.5 by 5 3/4. So 5 3/4. Oops, sliding around a little bit. Let's line that up again. Oh yeah, we used selvages in the Splendid Sampler a little bit. There was a whole block of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 3/4. I always have to count just to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 3/4. Okay, so trimming off a little bit here. So that's scrap. So here are 2 of our 4.5 by 5 3/4. So I need to cut some more fabric for the other 2. And you know what? I think I might just grab another color just for fun, just to mix it up. And I think I'll just slice it off the edge here, and we'll just see. We'll see what it ends up being. I know I'll have extra, but that's okay. Wow, this piece of fabric is really cut pretty crooked. Wow, it's really crooked. I'm gonna just kind of, we're gonna do it like that. Oh, you roll your selvages into a ball. Oh, that's kind of funny. Basketball-sized selvage ball. All right, trimming this edge. So let's cut the smallest edge on here for those for that extra block, because maybe I'll be using my fabric a little bit better. So let's cut 4.5 here, and then I will cross cut the 5 3/4. 4.5. Okay. Oops, I moved a little bit at the end there, but I think we'll be okay because I got to trim a little bit. Yeah, this was definitely torn, a torn piece of fabric instead of a cut piece of fabric, a cut fat quarter. So that's why it's a little wonky. It's a little, I should have maybe stretched it a little bit beforehand, but you know what? I'm not so worried for a quilt because there's a whole pile of other areas where I could make mistakes. So I think those areas will stretch it out more than a little bit of weird angled woven area here. I don't think we'll have a problem. Again, we talked about this a little last night. If you were making like a shirt or something, the weave being off would be a pretty big problem because it would hang funny. But in my case here, with this quilt, I don't think I'm going to have any problems. Not enough for me to deal with it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 3/4. Okay, this is the last bit. So I'm not wasting too much fabric with this yet. Oh, you saw a demo from the improv book. Oh, awesome. Oh, I love that improv book. So that's kind of, I think, Joe, what we'll be doing towards the end when I make the back of my quilt. I think I'm going to do more of those improv blocks. So, all right, here are the 4, you know, I did it with 2 different colors just because, why not? These are the 4 4.5 by 5 3/4 pieces. So I'm going to just stack those. I like that some of these colors are going to be kind of mix and matchy. All right, let's see. Well, I can tell, I'm just seeing, you know, I have this little piece of fabric yet. I think I might be able to get a couple, we need 4 2-inch squares ultimately. I think I might be able to get at least 2 out of here. So I think while I have this fabric here, why don't I just trim this up? I think my edge is still together pretty well, so I just need to cut 2 inches off of there. Then we'll need to find 2 inches somewhere else still. Oh, she did the curved piecing. So that is something I have not explored in improv land yet, and I'd love to. So I don't know if we'll do that for this project, but that might be fun down the road. I've been having a lot of fun. This isn't 2 inches, is it? No, not quite. A lot of fun doing that improv quilting, so maybe we expand our horizons on that a little bit coming up. I don't know. I think that'd be fun. All right. Ooh, wait, I might be able to get all 4 out of here. Ha ha! I forgot I'm doubled up here. So 1, 2. Awesome. So see, we're using up this fabric in a preservative way. Okay, so here we have 4 2-inch squares. Great, we just got that out of that fabric. Okay, so that is these 4 2-inch squares. So what else do we need? We need let's see, cut 2 2.5-inch wide strips, and from this, oh, with the fabric strips. So we need to cut, so we need to cut a lot out of there. So here's where we can start combining, getting a little scrappier, I think. Let's take this guy, since we haven't used him yet. I'm still going to double it up just because it's easier to cut the shorter amounts. All right, we need a couple strips. So ultimately these are with the fabric strips. So I need to actually cut 2 strips to equal the 1 with the fabric strips. So I think I might, let's just layer this guy back in here. And I think I will just cut 2 strips out of both of these, and this is where we'll get some of these pieces out of. So, all right, I think I got my fold matched up down here. Oh, don't know how I can concentrate on cutting, measuring, and chatting. Oh man, I think a lot of it is just saying every single thing that comes to my head. I'm not organizing my thoughts very well, so that makes it easier. Just random yapping. I do try not talk while I'm cutting yet, because that takes a little more concentration. So, okay, what are we doing? We're doing 2 2.5-inch strips. So I'm going to cut 2 out of these pretty fabrics. 2.5. Oh, thanks, Patricia. Yeah, basically saying every measurement that I'm doing out loud too. Everything's just out loud. That's how it's done. All right, that's our first couple strips. I'm going to do one more like that. Let's just move that guy hair out of the way. Oh, this is so pretty, this fabric. Again, I'm not sure where I got this one. Every once in a while, I'll acquire fabric from somewhere, like, I don't know, like little giveaways and stuff. Or I'll grab some from my mom. So I have some fabric that I don't know where I got it from, but it's so fun to use it and build it into the quilt. Like, again, I really love taking my showcase fabric for whatever project it is and then trying to fill it in with other fabrics. And, you know, that allowed me to introduce this fabric into it because this was kind of one of the filler fabrics that went with that other blue. So, all right, I've cut some strips. I'm going to see what I can get out of these. I'm going to try and not move them too much. I'd like to keep those bottom edges nice. Looks like we have a lot of selvage on some of these, so maybe I will separate them a little bit, but let's see, because I need some pretty large strips out of this. I need a 2.5 inch, I need 4 that are 2.5 by 10 inches, 10.5. So I don't even know if we have that here. Oh, we just do. So you know what I'm gonna do, oh, you know, there's a lot of selvage over there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just trim off. I'm going to rotate it to do it. I'm going to trim off just these tiny little folds here. And then I'll try and get my 10.5 inches off of this one. So I need 4. So I think I can get 4. I might be able to get my 4 right here. I might not have needed all that extra fabric cut. Oh, well. Let's trim this. Okay, and now I'm going to kind of rotate these again. Trying to keep these together as best I can. All right, let's hope we can get the 10.5 out of here. We have a little selvagey thing, so I might replace that one, the one that has all the selvage on it. I think I can cut it with this ruler still. 10.5. Go right like that. I'm lining up the line on the rulers with my edges. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.5. Ooh, there's a little selvage on that one. Let's check it out. This selvage might just go into the quilt, but I might recut that one, because I think I have enough fabric with my other cuts. So we have 2 good ones. What do we got going on here? 3, and I think I might redo this one just because it has, you know, that little bit of selvage. This will probably get sewn in, but might as well make it a little more mix and matchy if I can. So, all right, I need 1 more of those, but let's see what I need out of here. So I need one 2.5 by 11 inch strip. So I can just take this away. I'm going to do the 11.5 out of this one, just because I think it's really pretty. So let's trim that selvage off. So I only need one 11 inch strip. Yeah, it'll work. Maybe it's just getting late and perfectionist brain is going. Maybe I will just leave it because, I mean, that's less than a 1/4 inch. Let's see if there's any of those dots. So there's none of those like selvage dots that can sometimes happen. Yeah, you know what? Let's just leave it. Then it's done. I don't think it's going to be a problem at all. All right, now this one needs to be 11 inches. You talked me into it. Because it wasn't that hard. Hard to do. All right, 11 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Because apparently I can't read rulers. All right, snip. Okay, so there's my 11 inch. So I got these, I have 4 10-inch ones and 10.5 inch ones. And the 1 11-inch one. So now all we need is 3 1.5 width of fabric strips for the borders. And that actually means I'll need 6 cuts of these fat quarter pieces. So I might use all 3 of these fabrics. I think I'll probably have enough. This one I cut off some of the width, so these strips will be a little shorter, but that might kind of be fun. They can all be a little bit different lengths, so I'll put that one on the bottom. This one, these I can probably, well, let's set that to the side. Let's stack these. That'll be easier. So let's get our little width of fabric stack here going again. And I will cut, how many did we need again? We needed 3 width of fabric. So in this case, I need to cut 2 so I can have kind of 6 total. And I might be a little short with the final quilt because I don't actually know that measurement offhand, but I'll have some extra fabrics in case I need it. So I'm just measuring something. 9, that'll be 18 inches. 18, same difference. Actually, now the wider part on this fabric is the lengthwise fabric, so I think I'm gonna fold it that way instead. Wow, yeah, this is pretty crooked, but we'll deal. So let's trim that selvage. I got all the folds lined up. I'm gonna cut quite a bit off of there. A little less, maybe. Okay, so let's cut 2 1.5-inch strips. So these are going to be, this is all going to be for this cute little border here, I suspect, like this little blue border right here. Mine's going to be all patchworked out of these pieces. Not quite aligned at the bottom there. And you know what? I have this little piece left too. Why don't I cut this already, just in case I do need a little bit more? Then I'll have an extra ready to go here for the border. So, and because I still have a pretty sharp blade, I think I'll be able to get through all of this fabric. This is a lot of layers of fabric. I wouldn't normally cut this much all at once, but I think I'll be able to do it. Okay. Uh-oh, maybe not. Let's go over that again. There we go. Okay, and now what did I need again? I needed 1.5-inch strips. So I'm going to just scooch this over. So little, these strips. 1.5, and we'll get our other ruler up here. Why not cut 3 and why not cut 3-inch? Oh, I could do that. Yeah, I could cut these 3 inches and cut them in half again, but it's such a long cut that I think, and it's so skinny, I think I might be a hair more accurate doing the 2 cuts like this. I don't know. We'll see. Kind of a lot of fabric that I'm cutting through, which is maybe not smart. Did I get them all? Oh, good. All right, so that's the first cut, and remember I have that 1 extra, so I don't need this scrap anymore. And I'm going to cut the selvages off of all these too before we get too much further. And another 1.5. So I'm hoping out of all this I will have enough I'm hoping I'll have enough for those cute little borders. Because I gotta make up for the seam allowances too. Like those are just long strips, and since I'm not using long strips, I'll have to sew them together. And every time I sew 2 pieces of fabric together, I'm losing the seam allowance in length for both of those. So that's why I just added it in that extra one just in case. But there we are. There are the, in theory, what would equal 3 1.5-inch strips, I think. So I should have 6 here, and I do. Okay, so I'm gonna move this to the side. I think that's actually it for the light blues. So I'm done with this fabric. I'll probably use it in the back of my quilt, like what I'm gonna use the other stuff for. I'm thinking I'm gonna have tons for the back of the quilt, which is great. So while I'm still here, I'm going to just trim these selvage-y edges off of here. Just squaring all these up really nicely. Yeah, all these edges need to be trimmed. So I'm just kind of layering them, and I'll cut all on this line here. Then I don't have to do that later. I have to do it at some point, so might as well do it now. So all these raw edges I'm lining up. That one I could do a little bit less. Ooh, line that up. Kitty, scratch it just a hair. There's another selvage. Again, this is a lot to be stacking, but we're doing it. Okay, I'm going to go over both of those at once. I was curious how much of your stash I'm actually using. Did it even leave a dent? Oh God, Michelle, it did not leave a dent at all. I'm always kind of, and it's not necessarily because I have a huge stash. It's just because I'm always surprised by this. Quilts actually don't use up a lot of fabric. I'm always thinking, oh, I have this bin of fabric, like this small little bin of fabric. I'm gonna, I'll make one small lap quilt and it'll all be gone. And, you know, when I do that, I actually, you know, I haven't even scratched the surface of it. So it's kind of amazing to me how little fabric is used to make these quilts. So, you know, I don't know. It doesn't look like I used much, but I don't know. We've been cutting quite a bit, but again, it doesn't look like I used much when you start looking in the bins. It's just such a weird phenomenon. I swear. You have a huge quilt that you're making, and it like literally makes 0 dent out of your stash. So, all right, here is what is representing my light blue. So I'm happy with it. I got a whole range of those 3 fabrics. You know, I got this fun little pebbly one, and then my pretty dark brown and blue, and then this kind of scratchy brown. And I think that's all gonna look really nice together. So, all right, light blues are done. I think let's start the last color. I'm not sure we'll get it completely done tonight. But we will finish it on Monday, cutting the last color, and then I think on Monday I'll also organize it into what block everything belongs to, and then our whole quilt is cut and organized, and then we can finally get going on block 1, and we'll hopefully cruise through that. So all right, light blue is done to yellow number 1, which in my case is represented by green here. We're going to do the same thing. I just have fat quarters, and they have to be cut up in all sorts of different ways, and I don't have any width of fabric, so we're going to have to cut them out the best we can. So, all right, first off, let's press all these. So I'm going to barely need any of this fabric, I'm thinking. Maybe I'll lose this one. Keep these kind of more colorful ones, because I really don't think I'll need all 4. I didn't need all 4 for the other one. And I like this one because it has weird butterflies in and stuff, and I think that will go with our whole floral thing. This is some pretty florals. It's a nice neutral, and this one has these florals, and it has that kind of in the middle green-blue color, which will be a nice bridge between my blues and these greens. So let's start with these three and see what happens. Let's press it. Maybe we'll only get to pressing these tonight, but I'd like to at least cut one out. We'll see how it goes. Don't want to keep you guys forever. But yeah, so Monday we will finish up cutting. Ooh, let's get this guy on the mat. That's a hard edge right there. We will continue finishing up cutting, and this is all that's left, these little green fat quarters. So we're done cutting everything else, except for like the back of the quilt, which I think I'm going to just piece together from all these scraps. I'm not worried about the back yet. We'll worry about that when the front's done. How about that? And then we will organize all our pieces into what block they belong to. So that'll all be on Monday. And on Monday, I will be sharing who won the Aurifil thread box. So today is the last time to sign up. It actually is kind of closing the sign up after I'm done being live here. So if you haven't yet, like the Penguin and Fish page, which is where in theory you're watching this, or you might not be if you're watching this somewhere that it's been shared. So just click like on the Penguin and Fish page, and then also type into a comment on any of these videos so far, hashtag I love home quilt, and that is that. And if you're like on Instagram or something, if you do a search for hashtag I love home quilt, you'll probably see a whole pile of other people working on this project as well. And you can always join my Penguin and Fish Crafters page. I know there are a few people making this quilt in there as well, and it's a fun little show and tell area for whatever craftiness you're working on. Okay, this is like a fat quarter that's been folded in this fat quarter position for years and years too. These are some pretty good creases in here yet, but you know, as we sew it in the quilt, I think it'll be fine. Again, all my fabric from my stash, if it's not my own fabric, it's probably pretty old. Except for that fabric I used in the hourglass block quilt. That was new fabric, and those batiks that I got at the same time are new. But that's the first new fabric I think I've gotten in a long time. So all this has been sitting in bins and been unorganized for years and years. And then just a couple months ago, or maybe not even a month ago, or more than a month ago, I organized pretty much all of my fabric. Not quite. Some of it's still hanging out there somewhere, and but most of it got organized. I put all the fat quarters together and all of the other pieces of fabric together, so that was nice. Oh, Susan, you got your embroidery kit. Yay! So when we're done with block 1, I think there'll be some time in between us finishing block 1 and getting block 2 for this block of the month club. Block of the month project here. So after block 1, we will be working on the Craft a Happy Life embroidery kit. That's on my website. I think I might have a link to that in this post as well. So if you wanted to do that with us, feel free to grab one of those kits from the shop. But that will be our next project too. Oh yeah, you got yours. Oh, you love my packages. Oh, thanks so much, Amy. That's just super sweet. Oh, Patricia, your computer went off. Oh, no. All right, this is the last little fabric. Look at this fun one. Look at all these little butterflies. Cute. I've never unfolded it, I don't think. Jeez. Some of these fabrics are so so old, they're finally getting to be used, and I bet you they're happy. They get to be used now. Pretty fabrics. Cute butterflies. But man, awfully wrinkly. They've been in fat quarter format for a long time. I'm not sure how well this fabric in particular kind of fits with the other ones I picked, but I like the idea that, I don't know, butterflies kind of went with the whole like floral theme of it all. So we threw them in. Okay, let's cut something. Alrighty, here we go. What do we got? So this is the yellow. And let's see. Cut 1.5 with the width of fabric strip from this cut for 1.5 by 10.5. So this is kind of like what we were just doing. So let's take 2 different fabrics and cut 1.5 inch strip. So I'm going to just fold this guy again, so I have less to do. And let's grab, what other one? Let's grab this guy, just because it was on top. But I do want a mixture of these 3 fabrics still. Ooh, this is another one that is not cut very square. So we're gonna have to cut quite a bit of selvage off of both of these, I think. Or not selvage, little edge. Okay, so I'm gonna cut 1.5 inch strip. Okay, got it. And I'll probably cross cut these, and we'll see. Maybe we'll cut a little bit more tonight. See how it goes. All right, I think I can move it over a hair more. Just want to make sure that I got enough in there. Okay, let's cut. I'll use this guy. All right. This is just to get that nice straight edge. Okay, and then what was it? It was 1.5 inches. So we have a few other strips that are this, 10.5 by 1.5 inch strips. So wonder what those will be used for. I haven't dug into it anymore. We'll see what blocks they go to. They might be part of the border or something too. I don't know. All right, 1.5. There we go. All right, so this is what we need that 10.5 inch strip out of. So I'm gonna just do it like how I did the last time, just cutting off these folds. Let's double check that we actually have enough with these. 10.5, about right there. Ooh, we are cutting it real close on the selvages. Oh, and one's quite a bit on the selvage. Let's see. This one is a lot on the selvage. I think we're gonna cut these individually instead of the fold. Maybe I can squeeze a little bit more out of them. A little extra step. These are pretty as little strips though too, aren't they? If I have to cut another one, that's fine. Then the more scrappy it'll be, which is okay with me. Cut off that little pinked edge, the pinking shear edge. All right, we got our straight edge. All right, 10.5 inches. I'm gonna just use this guy. All right. We'll we'll cut that one, and then we'll scooch them over and see if I can get another 10.5 out of it. 10.5. We'll use this little ruler. All right, that's 2 10.5ers. And let's see what we can get out of this. Hopefully I can get them. Ooh, this top one I might not quite have enough of. Ooh, or I might have exactly just enough. All right, check it. That's perfect. Okay, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.5. Perfect. All right. By unfolding it, we were able to kind of manipulate it a little bit better. So we have what we need, and I don't have to cut more, which is awesome. Phew, close one, right? There we go. Right on the edge there. All right, so here are my 4 10.5 inches. So they're pretty cute. Look, I'll get that fun little butterfly in and a little hint of that orange butterfly. I like it. All right. These are the ones that are eating all the kale, though. All right. Let's check that off. Ooh, scraps everywhere. Done and done. So all we need now is, let's see. So kind of some funny squares like what we were doing before. And, oh no, these are, oh, 1 6.5. All right, so this is a little funnier. This one we might cut out a little bit different. I need 1 2.5 inch strip, the width of fabric, and then I need an additional 2.5 inch, that's 11 inches. Let's see. You know what? I think we'll stop it here tonight. I'm gonna stop on these 4 inches. This is just maybe a little bit more than my brain can handle in an evening. So I think we will do the rest of this tomorrow, or not tomorrow, on Monday. And we will also separate them all into their blocks. So we're just cutting by color now, but afterwards we have to divide it up. So block 1 gets, it gets this much white that we've already cut up. It gets these pieces of white, it gets these pieces of dark pink, these pieces of teal, these pieces of yellow or light blue, and these pieces of yellow. So we still have to divide up all our blocks. So we know the cuts for all the blocks already. And so now I got to take like my whole yellow pile and divvy it up to what block it goes in. So that'll take a little bit of time to go through the entire quilt basically and reorganize what goes where. So why don't we do all that on Monday? We will finish cutting this little section here out of the rest of the greens, and we will organize all our blocks, and then we will be ready to rumble on Tuesday. We'll actually get sewing on the block. We'll either get sewing or doing the applique. I have to read the instructions for block 1. So that is the new plan. That is Monday. I'm going to flip you guys around, and I think we'll call it a Friday night. Hello again. So, all right. Here are my cute little butterflies. I love him. Look at little guy. He's cute. So back again Monday. So you can join me here at Monday at 9:30 p.m. Central on the Penguin and Fish page. This will also go up on YouTube. All the replays for this project are going to live forever on YouTube at Penguin and Fish Movies. So youtube.com/penguinandfish movies. You'll find it there. And it's divided into projects, so you can see some of our earlier projects as well. If you wanted to sew those, some of those projects, I do them from beginning to end, just like how I'm doing this one as well. So awesome, guys! I appreciate you joining me and chit-chatting with me. It's no fun if I'm just by myself, so it's nice to have people to talk to, and it's nice that you're talking. So I really appreciate that, and I'm having a lot of fun working on this with you guys so far. So, all right. I will catch you guys on Monday, and I will let you know the winner of the Aurifil thread box as well. So have a great night. Have a great weekend. I will catch you guys later. Good night.